In this week's chapter of One Piece, it seems that the Battle of Dressrosa is over, and King Kong's got nothing on Luffy. Corey, I was really excited about this chapter. I didn't think it was going to go down with just one punch. We heard Luffy make that declaration that he had one big attack left on Doflamingo, but I just didn't see it happening in just one punch. But the King Kong gun was the excitement of this week's chapter.
Definitely, without a doubt, we finally got to see what it could be the big end to the battle between Luffy and Doflamingo. And as much as I want to believe that the battle is over, I still think Doflamingo still hasn't unleashed his true potential yet. Although, just the fact that his glasses were removed in this week's chapter, I think is a really big deal. This is going to be the first time that we've actually seen him without those glasses. We might see even more darker, pissed off side of Doflamingo. But despite the fact that Luffy was awesome this week, was Doflamingo, so destructive with his power. Especially the one move that he had, where he just summoned all of these strings, turning all of the surrounding area into strings, and attacked Luffy at once.
And everything. He even tied up Luffy as soon as he touched the ground, because I think he called it the Great White or something like that. And as soon as Luffy touched the ground, he's just got tied up immediately. And Luffy ends up having to block his attack with just Haki, turning his chest into Haki. And we also, one thing I don't want to leave out is Law actually ended up helping a good bit.
Yeah, at the very beginning of the chapter, Doflamingo actually tries to attack him with this one big attack. As soon as he's about to hit him, he uses his room ability and switches place with a rock. Very ninja style. And, that's really awesome. I was kind of hoping that he would get involved in the battle a little bit more. But he still has to help out because, Dressrosa is still being, crushed by this massive birdcage. Everyone around them is they're happy that Luffy is back, but they still need him to finish up this battle quick because things are just going south. Everything is about to be destroyed. And that big final attack was really cool because as the chapter was going on, we had these flashbacks, which we got to see Luffy hanging out with Rayleigh, talking about the Gear Fourth and how he's going to need something even bigger than just the Kong Punch. And this, of course, leads to the King Kong Punch, which has one of the coolest names ever. And the actual look of the attack is really cool because it's sort of a combination of Gear's Fourth and Gear Third, because he goes into Gear Fourth Pound Man state, he jumps up into the air, and then he starts to blow up his arm, kind of like when he does with the Gear Third, and creates this massive Haki-infused black arm, which he uses to just hit Doflamingo at point-blank range, which sends him flying into the bottom of Dressrosa, leaving a massive impact explosion. You can see that when he's hit by it, his glasses immediately start to shatter, and the final panel this week is a shot of Doflamingo's glasses not on his face. It's so freaking exciting, and, like you said, this could be the final punch. But I still think Doflamingo's going to get up and unleash something even crazier right after this. But even if they didn't, I'm still pretty satisfied from this battle. I thought it was awesome. I love the intensity behind it. The artwork in particular this week was fantastic, especially with the big final attack, and Luffy just looking pissed as all hell, especially because throughout the whole course of the chapter, and really, when I say the whole course, I mean 90% of it, Doflamingo's just wailing on Luffy, just constantly berating him, and then eventually Luffy's like, enough is enough. He gets real pissed off, and that's when he does his big final attack.
Yeah, I think that's the key moment is when Doflamingo is saying something like, if you and everyone would have just fallen in line, none of this would have had to happen to this island. And that just pisses Luffy off, because Luffy is the embodiment of wanting to be free. That's why he wants to be Pirate King. He says it all the time, because Pirate King gets to decide and do anything he wants without answering to anyone. And so the idea of being controlled by someone just pisses Luffy off. And he says, I can't even breathe because of your greed and your control over this island, so I'm ending you right now. And then he, punches him. And it looks like he, punches through the spider web, which is something kind of interesting, because usually you don't see people break Doflamingo's strings, which, again, just illustrating how powerful this attack was. And one of the other things is I just think that it's probably over, but if it's not over, I don't think that Doflamingo has much left. He's going to be fighting out of desperation at this point.
If anything, even after using this attack too, Luffy's got to be exhausted.
He's got to be
that's got to be a ridiculous attack. So even if they do fight, it might go back to the more traditional non-Haki based battle, them just using maybe their default abilities, or maybe just having just a straight up hand-to-hand fight, which I think would be awesome, because I think when they do choreography for Luffy when he fights, in particular in the anime version, it looks really nice and it looks really fluid. So I think that would be just fantastic. Even if it's something as simple as that one scene where he punched one of those holy dragons in the face and it went all slow-mo and went up black and white. Even if it's just that, I'll be completely satisfied. But I will say this entire arc has been exciting, and I can't wait to see how they're going to wrap it up in the coming chapters.
We have not seen the birdcage disappear yet, so, there's something to be said about that. So maybe, Luffy does need to walk up to Doflamingo and punch him in the face a few times, and that will, kind of make it dissipate. Or, I also thought, what about if Law used Shambles and warped everyone outside of it.
That is a possibility. I can't believe I never even thought about that, because maybe, like, wait, and maybe it has to do with, like, how close or far away it is. Maybe he has to wait till, like, the last second, and then use it, and right as soon as it closes in, everybody's going to be transported out. Or maybe Law is going to be the one who actually finishes off Doflamingo, which in many ways is a little bit of poetic justice. He's finally going to be getting revenge, for everything that happened with Rocinante. But I don't know if Luffy's going to allow it to go that way, because, executions and death in the One Piece series, usually is only performed, like, by a big major villain.
Yeah, it's sort of shunned. The good guys don't kill people. They just make the...
Or at least the Straw Hat Pirates.
Yeah, that's true.
But then again, Law is not a Straw Hat Pirate. He is a D.
He is a D. Well, the other thing that made me giggle at the end of the chapter, because it said the D will pierce the sky, and I was just like, okay, there's a joke in there.
It's like, one, there's a Gurren Lagann joke in there, like, automatically, but two, just saying the D is going to pierce the sky, just... The sexual undertones are absolutely ridiculous
there.
There's
so many jokes there. Just mentioning there are jokes there, I think, is good enough justice for that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. 5 out of 5 for me.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 too. Just, it was really action-packed. The artwork was really good, especially with Doflamingo's attacks. And the King Kong Punch was freaking awesome. It's clearly Luffy's most devastatingly powerful technique. And considering we still have a long way to go in the series, I can't wait to see how it's just going to get crazier from here. Like, are we going to see Gear 5? I mean, like, oh man, King Kong Gatling!
Yeah,
that would be freaking crazy. What type of villain are they going to have to fight against to have to use an ability like that? Probably one of the Emperors, I imagine.
Yeah, probably Big Mom.
Yeah, because they have to follow up on all that Sanji stuff, which happened, during this arc. There's so many things to wrap up. There's the whole Kinemon side story. There's Kyros and his family, and Rebecca and Violet. There's Bartolomeo, the fighters of Kurita Coliseum. There's a lot of really crazy things going on in this arc, and I really want to see how they're going to wrap up all those stories. And if we're going to get a new Straw Hat anytime soon. Because the more I watch the anime version, the more I'm always trying to speculate who it could be. And, it seems like every episode it's like, oh, it's going to be Bartolomeo. Oh, it could be Kyros. That would be freaking awesome. But Violet's pretty awesome, too. But then again, there's Rebecca, the fighters of Kurita Coliseum. Even Cavendish has grown on me a little bit. There's so many possibilities. And yet, at the end of the day, it's probably just going to end up being Jinbei. Which I'm okay with. I think Jinbei's awesome.
They need a water guy.
They do. He would be so freaking useful to the crew, and I want to see him again. I really want to, they've had those cover stories over the course of the last couple of months, but today we actually got another big full color image, which was really cool because One Piece has been on break, and this is probably like a nice gift from Oda himself, and I liked it, just getting to see all the characters in more different outfits. My favorite one was Nami as a cowgirl, for obvious reasons.
It's funny because when I was reading this chapter, I was so excited to see how the fight was going. I didn't even realize there was a color page. I skipped past it.
Oh, man, I love the color pages. I always love seeing them in different outfits, though, Broken is another rocker outfit using, like, a black British flag. He was wearing that. Zoro's always getting hammered. He has 2 big beers. Luffy right in the middle doing a big, like, kabuki pose, very similar to what we've seen from Gear 4th, and he almost looks kind of like Kinemon in that shot. I think it's really awesome. And Frankie's also, like, he's a karate master. He's got, like, this long hairdo, and he's doing, like, this awesome pose. So I really love those because, one, they always look really nice and appealing, and I'm sure fans who love the art style of One Piece will really enjoy it. But I love it because a lot of the times in the intro of the anime version, they will take those cover stories and they'll, like, animate them in the intros of the show. So it's like the best of both worlds. You get to see the animated version of that shot. So I hope they do something with that as well.
And it's nice because, well, One Piece is kind of different because you actually get your characters in different outfits per arc. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, they even give you new versions with all these cover stories. Mm-hmm. So they actually are very creative with the art style of what they actually do with all these characters. Because One Piece is just full of characters, but they even take the time to make so many different versions of them. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty daunting task if you actually think about what One Piece does all the time, weekly. Mm-hmm. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure and thumbs up the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until next time, Super Kami Guru 9000 is going to stay dandy, baby.